Hi again, everybody. Hope you all have been enjoying the story so far. And now that things are getting even weirder than they normally are, because anybody who knows me knows I'm kind of weird. So last time we were just running through the fantasy world with Saint and John, trying to see what's going on. So without further ado, I guess we'll just continue from there. As they reached the town, it all seemed to come together, like all the strangeness had been left behind. Even the people looked average, no more soulless. John wondered if normal people lived this far in, fathers, mothers, all living in a dreamscape. Should be should be a hotel somewhere unless the bitch got lazy along the way. Creation, how overrated, Saint said. This struck John in a way that he hadn't expected. He looked at his hands that had built whole worlds from repeating variations of the same 26 letters over and over. You're right, Humans have been creating since the dawn of time. Fucking monkeys create. Hey, look at that, Saint said, ignoring John. Told you. Up ahead was a blue sign reading, Best Sleep Hotel. Come on, let's go, he said, walking to the doorway. Shouldn't we? John began, but was cut short as Saint gave a firm kick, knocking the door in. You were saying? He said. John put his hands on his pockets. Nothing. Inside was bare bones essentials. Single bed, single chair, bathroom, refrigerator, TV. John sat in the chair, rubbing his calves. So you gonna bother explaining all this? He said. Saint gave him a tired look. Really? I would have thought a big shot writer like you would have pieced this all together by now. He sighed and sat in front at the foot of the bed. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and all was good. He looked at John. You've heard this schmeal before, I'm sure. John nodded. Good. So that would lead you to believe that there was nothing before existence. But that's not true. Some say God was one of them, but I don't really believe that. They witnessed him, though, saw the birth of creation from their dark, hollow places, and craved it. Can't really blame them, I suppose. Imagine an eternity of nothing. You can't think because nothing exists to think about, except maybe your own self. Even then, what kind of miserable existence is that? Sentience requires feeling requires substance, and your only substance is yourself. So when the light clicked on and the universe exploded into the picture, God at its head, you can imagine the impact it had on them. You keep saying them. Who? John interrupted. The only name they've ever been known by is the things that came before. Over the centuries, they've crossed over in their own fragmented ways into the minds of authors, artists, mathematicians, you name it. These people are usually unaware of them for their entire lives, seeing them as muses, inspiration, never once considering these ideas come from anywhere but their own heads. Why would they? Most demonologists or members of the occult don't even know they exist. So you can think of some Joe, you can think, so you think some Joe Schmo could figure that shit out? John thought not. He himself was starting to see it in his work. That's when it hit him. It was starting to make a sick kind of sense. Why this world didn't seem so foreign. Why so many familiar elements of it screamed out at him. This is the place, he said with dawning terror. This is where my head goes when I write. Saint made a gun with his fingers. That's right, Tex. He fired. John felt his knees turn to jello. His head grew pounds lighter, threatening to float from his shoulders. You mean I've never written an original thing? Just was pitched ideas, some fucked up quasi-reality? His eyes were wide as he stared at his hands. I'm no writer. Just a fucking post-it board with a goddamn conscience. Jesus, don't be such a baby, John, Saint said, peering out the window. A card rolled past in the parking lot. For what it was worth, the world seemed authentic to a virtual T. Even the randomness seemed perfectly in place. Saint closed the curtain and looked at John. You think just anybody can see something and put it to a page, let alone look into this world at all? You think that this downsizes everything you've done, but I'll let you know something. These beings, these things that came before, chose you, because you already felt fit a criteria they were looking for. Argo, you. Tell me, have your stories all been the same tone or even have similar structures or genres? I know the answer, so shit your fucking mouth. So shut your fucking mouth. You're a writer still. Nothing's changed. He sat down again. This is taking too long. I'm gonna catch some Z's. Wake me up. Wake me if the sun goes down. He said it like it might not happen. Truth be told, John thought it very likely it wouldn't. So after a few hours of reading through pamphlets, he was a little surprised to see the dull oranges and pinks of the sunset pawing across the sky. Saint had said to wake him when the sun had gone down, so he decided it wasn't a bad idea to step outside and watch the sunset as he waited. This world didn't seem so dangerous. Outside, behind the highway, was a thicket of trees twisting and turning around each other in a desperate race for the sun. Further still was a large hill, flat on one side, with divots cut into it where cows grazed, the sun disappearing behind them. This could be anywhere in the Southwest. It held all the traits of an average small town, making its unreality all the more disconcerting. John leaned against the dirty white brick wall of the hotel, remembering the school that they had appeared in, the tree just at the gate specifically. That had struck him in a way that nothing else had in this place. So he combed through his memories and realized like a slap to the face what it was. It almost made him laugh. Our tree, Joanna. He smiled at his feet. It had been where they had shared their first kiss. It didn't seem all that strange to him, after all that Saint had said. He had been pulling from this place for some time. Maybe it was a two-way street of sorts. Give a little, get a little, and so on. He decided to give it another minute before waking Saint up, giving the sunset a final glass over. You know he's lying to you, John Holmes, said a soft voice. John went straight, looking around for the source, seeing nothing but a dusty asphalt and cobwebs. And that's going to be all for right now. Next chapter, I guess we're going to find out who's talking to Saint, or John. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this. As always, thank you for listening, and I hope that you all have a good day. Goodbye.